Hi guys, Nada here from Tech Testers, and this is Corsair's brand new case, the Crystal 680X. Now they released two cases today. One is a 678C, which focuses more on a sleek look and silence and a very low profile. And this case, which is a complete opposite of that. It is a massive case with a dual chamber design and a ton of RGB fans, but it also comes with a very massive price. So let's put it to the test and see if it's worth the 250 euros it costs.
This video is brought to you by the Aorus 8027QD, Gigabyte's very first gaming monitor that earned my top recommendation if you're looking for a fast, solid performing 27-inch Quad HD monitor for gaming and creative tasks. Get yours using the link in the description below.
From a quality point of view, the 680X makes an excellent impression. The steel frame is solid, the plastic parts are really well made, and we have solid tempered glass on the side, on the front and on the top. White cases especially are prone to color differences between different materials, but Corsair did a perfect job at making sure every part is the same shade of white. Obviously, the aggressive design is meant to stand out, and it'll definitely be a matter of taste if you like the looks of it or not. But we always give credits when manufacturers release a product that has its own unique look. So you will be able to tell this case from other cases from a mile away. We're happy to see Corsair adding a fast USB Type-C connector to the front I/O panel, and next to it we see the typical USB 3 connections and audio connections. We see easily accessible dust filters on the bottom as well as on the top and the side, but for the front one you will have to work a bit, because you need to remove the fan bracket from the inside of the case to reach it. They improved quite a few things from the 280X case. Opening the case is easy now with a nice solid hinge mechanism, which definitely makes it easy to upgrade or clean your system. A single screw stops the door from falling out when moving the case around, which is a very simple detail but very effective. On the 280X case, the tempered glass window was only held by screws, and it was quite a skill to be able to hold it while putting the screws in. So I absolutely love this upgrade. The top glass panel is a bit higher than the rest of the case for improved airflow, but if that bothers you, it can be mounted a bit lower as well, using these shorter mounting standoffs. So this is a dual chamber case, which means that in the primary compartment you have space for a motherboard, the GPU, your cooling, and in the other compartment there is space for the power supply, for controllers, for all the storage, and all the cables that you need to tuck away. So it's a very large case. There is enough space for anything in there, and it's very easy to work with. In the main compartment there is space for a 360mm radiator in the front, 280mm radiator on the top. You can put any GPU in there with any length. You can even vertically mount your GPU, there is space for that too. But the vertical mount is quite close to the window, which means if you use a normal GPU, it's probably going to choke a bit and get unnecessarily hot. So this is probably going to be interested only for people with a water-cooled GPU. When it comes to fans, it comes with 4 fans included, so you don't have to invest too much in fans, out of which 3 fans are RGB fans, the LL120 RGB, and 1 back fan is actually a very uninteresting and boring grey Corsair fan. Now, it's not a bad fan at all, but it just doesn't fit the case. It already comes with 3 RGB, I just don't understand why they didn't include just 1 more, because it just feels a bit lame to skimp out on 1 fan on a case that is in this price class. In the second chamber, we find plenty of space for large power supply. There is a space for 3 3.5-inch drives and 4 2.5-inch drives, and they can be mounted tool-free. In that chamber, we also see a Lightning Node Pro RGB controller. Now, one big downside for me is that they should have added a fan controller as well. With the case having 4 fans itself, plus whatever you need for your CPU cooling, that really would have been a useful thing to have. For a 250 euro case, I think it's fair to expect at least a basic PWM fan hub. The cable management of this case is also great, with a lot of space for all the cables you need and a lot of holes to route your cables through. Let's look at the system here I've put together. I really wanted to keep that black and white theme going on. So there is an ASUS Prime Z390A motherboard in here with an Intel Core i9-9900K. It is cooled by a Corsair's H100i Platinum RGB cooler. That's a special edition, a white one. It's a brand new one and it goes really well with this case. For the GPU, we have here MSI Armor RTX 2070 card that also has black and white details, so it goes perfectly. Originally, this case comes with 3 black RGB fans in the front and 1 gray one in the back, as I mentioned before. So I got 3 white fans, LL120 RGB in white instead, which fit very nicely with the case. And I put a black one in the back. Now, ideally, I would probably get another package of 3 white RGB fans to put 1 in the back and 2 more in the bottom to kind of finish off the look of this system. Maybe that's something to do in the future. Even though the front and top are glass, there is a lot of space for airflow. So as expected, performance numbers actually turned out quite well. With this build and the fan profile of the case fans, as well as the H100i set to silent, we have our Core i9 steady at just under 50 degrees while gaming. The GPU is a comfortable 63 degrees, and the whole system is sitting around 38.5 decibels at 50 centimeters distance. With those temperatures, we can easily manually tune the fans down even more for even quieter operation, but 38.5 decibels for a system while gaming is great in my opinion. If we swap to blender workloads, we see the temperatures staying really low. They peak briefly in the 60s, but even out around 50 as the CPU fan speeds up a bit. With 50 degrees stable at 38.7 decibels at 50 centimeters distance, it is clear that there is plenty of headroom for some overclocking. Basically, it's fair to say that the 680X won't have any trouble with any high-end build, RTX 2080 Ti's included. Its fairly open and fan-heavy design means you do want to pick quiet components to keep the noise down, but most decent hardware nowadays is quiet anyways. By now it should be pretty clear that I absolutely love this case, and not because it's pretty, but because of all the improvements they've made. The PC building experience with this case, it's so easy and so accessible to a large number of people, even to those with absolutely no PC building experience whatsoever, like The Verge for example. But it comes with a very steep price. It is 250 euros, and I don't believe that some of the beginners would actually spend that amount of money on their very first system. However, it does come with 3 RGB fans and an RGB controller, which is sold separately for 100 euros, so I do understand why it costs a bit more. That being said, if you do want a unique looking system that has looks and performance to match it, and you like RGB fans and you have some extra space on your desk, then this case is definitely not a bad deal. When it comes to those RGB fans included, I have to say they are one of the nicest RGB fans you can currently find, supported by one of the most well-rounded RGB software packages, the IQ software, and just that experience alone is worth that price premium. If I would change some things, it probably wouldn't be the price. I would definitely change 2 things. One, the back fan being that ugly gray. I think it should be an RGB fan that matches the RGB fans in the front. And 2, this case needs a fan hub, a fan controller. And with those 2 things, that whole experience of a 250 euro case would be complete, in my opinion. Also, a little optional thing would be, now that they have 2 different types of RGB fans, black and white, it would be nice to be able to choose which ones you want with your case. Bottom line is, the Crystal 680X is impressive. It's a high quality, well thought out, easy to work with case that offers great performance and plenty of ways to turn your PC into a rig that really stands out. Definitely an easy one to recommend if you're willing to spend a bit more for something special. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this review and about this case. Don't forget to subscribe and see you in the next one. Bye!